Welcome to RE Uncut. Our daily shows are powered by CoreLogic and supported by Printforce, Rockend and Realty.com.au.
Welcome to Real Estate Uncut. I'm Michael Sheargold, and joining me today is John Cunningham, and we're going to talk about his leadership journey. Back with you shortly.
In today's market, great ideas alone simply aren't enough, but innovative execution can hand you a real competitive advantage. Nightlight is a cutting-edge illuminated signboard by Printforce that offers round-the-clock visibility and features that maximise advertising space, improving your exposure. Buyers can now see the full picture, day or night, with Nightlight's edge-to-edge illuminated surface, which utilises environmentally friendly, scratch-resistant technology. Nightlight is as versatile as you need to be in today's market.
John, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Hey, your leadership journey, 29 years at Cunninghams, and I know you and Anne had a big vision right early on to do things differently. Love to talk with you about your leadership journey, because clearly who you are and how you operate today compared to then has evolved dramatically.
Look, it has, Michael. It was and I think you've hit the vision right on the head. That was our goal, was just, why don't we just turn it upside down and do it not like everyone else? And I think that's been a driver for a long, long time, and it's also helped form my leadership style in trying to again have a healthy discontent for the present. To just go, okay, how can we do this better? How can we do this better? I'm just constantly asking that question, and that leads to I suppose having the people with me to actually accept that I might be one of those dreamers that we talk about. And I'm constantly dreaming, and it's good to have those challenges around me, and it's also good to have the achievers around me to make sure these things happen. So, because that was just me dreaming and challenging, and dreaming, me challenging, and then between the two of us achieving stuff. So yeah, it's been fun.
So were there some magical points or some key points on your leadership journey so that you can remember? I mean, clearly in the early days, you were a listing and selling machine, I'm imagining.
Yeah, look, it was. It wasn't until I actually went down to Melbourne and met James Tosterman, and he started asking me about my numbers, I realised what a machine I was. It was funny, you sort of keep doing what you're doing, and you don't realise. These days, everyone knows where they are in the pecking order. Back then, no one had any idea. And when I first met James and he started talking the numbers, and I told him, he said, "Oh, geez. You're one of the top agents in Australia." I said, "Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting." But that was, in terms of moving from that space into leadership, I had to, like say, employing people. When you have to lead. Now, I fortunately was given some really good advice by my father on just life skills and how to approach things, to just apply common sense to things, to treat people well, be nice to people. And to, it was just always tell the truth, just pretty simple stuff. And that just sort of made it, I found leadership quite easy, because it was just, I treated everyone the same, and I didn't, and I also wanted the best for them. That was where I started from. It was never about them feathering my nest. It was us about creating a nest together. So that's, I suppose, what led to where we are now. And look, I'm also of the belief that this business could have been significantly bigger than it was if I could be bothered to do it. But I really just wanted good people, and I just didn't want bullshit around me, and I didn't want to be the king of the world. I just wanted to create an awesome business for people to flourish in.
Yeah, what I love about this, John, is that, feathering other people's nests, so your nest gets feathered along those lines. So really your intention, making sure that you're doing something that's having a remarkable impact, and that impact will always come back and reward you in the process. But it's not starting with how am I going to be rewarded, it's starting by how can I actually make a difference.
Yeah.
So on that leadership journey then, were there some key times where you shifted a gear or shifted in a mode?
Look, absolutely. There was those moments where, opportunity is grasped. Other people come into your world, like my first coach, Wayne Hughes, that that was a pivotal moment when I took that on, to just get a different view. Pivotal moment when we joined the RER network with yourself. That was probably the greatest one because it just opened my eyes to greater possibilities. And I think it was probably also a massive shift to actually get support in that leadership role as well. So when I layered those two things together, we created a great environment. And so I think it was always about making sure that, you don't just think you can do this on your own and do what you're doing. But at the same time, you realise you're doing a pretty good job. So let's build on that. And I think that was probably the key thing, was constantly building on success and trying to stay away from complacency, because I can tell you over those nearly 30 years, I've had those little complacency times, and they're the bits where you get a little tap on the shoulder, and you know exactly what you're doing or not doing, probably more than not doing, and then you go, okay, notch up a gear, and again, just constantly look at doing it better. It's because we always like to be ahead of our competitors. That was the key. And to do that, you've got to constantly innovate. You've just got to be constantly putting the microscope and looking yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, how are we going to do this?
And John, one of the things I'd love to cover off on tomorrow is talking a little bit more about your partner program and the shareholders and how that has evolved. And one of the key things I think that's interesting is that, with other shareholders, that complacency tends to disappear, because it's now not just you and Anne and, what do we want? It's actually, hang on, I've got this responsibility to a larger group of people in the process. Did that create a change when you decided to sell down and bring others into the business?
Look, absolutely. And that was, the next pivotal moment was there. And it was this is never going to be what it could be by just me. And I can't do all those things. So, having people, such as Bree, Andrew, James, Georgie, Steve, in the business.
Now you're going to say everyone.
Oh, okay. Trent, Beth, Mel, of course. So that's the sort of a thing where you go, okay, if you're going to do this, make sure the right people are on board with it. Because I'd seen a lot of businesses go about it the wrong way, try and hold on to everything, and actually have, a less is more, which actually was real, actually being less and less and less from what it was. So I felt that the only way was to let go to grow. And so letting go of a whole lot of different things, but also understanding, and we've talked about this a lot, is if you're going to delegate a job to someone or give someone a role, they're not necessarily going to do it your way, right? And that's not a bad thing. It's just going to be a bit different. It might actually be better. It may be not, well, maybe not as good, but whatever it is, it's just their way of achieving it. If you can position them into the right place, but they're just going to go about their way. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just part of how a business will actually evolve into a different creature. Finding out where your lane is and making sure that you can stay in that rather than trying to touch into too many things, which is what I was doing all along, has been critical, because it just means that's the bit I enjoy, because, I don't need to do this anymore. I do it because I actually love it. But I love parts of it, and there's other bits I didn't like. So I stopped selling real estate, gosh, how many years ago is that? Over 10, 11 years ago, because I felt that wasn't my forte anymore. I was really good at it. I was great at listing, and so I moved away from the actual, buyer nurture component. And you know why? Because I just got cranky. I got cranky with people not listening to me. So I've been doing it for 30 odd years. So it was time to let the other guys do it.
So what I'm hearing in this is that you've been on this quest of evolving your leadership. You had some moments in there that were clear shifts of, like, because you're out there looking, you saw something, you could see it differently, and then applied it. The other thing I really like in what you said is not everything's going to be a winner, but you've got to give some of it a go and test out some things along that particular journey. John, great talk with you about the changes in your role over time. Let's come back tomorrow and really drill in and talk about the partnership side of things. We've touched on it today, but I think there's a little bit more for us to cover off on.
The Daily RE Uncut Show is powered by CoreLogic and supported by Printforce, Rockend and Realty.com.au. Realty.com.au is where you will see all our shows. real estate talk, the property show, auction update, and of course, RE Uncut. We are the home of property.